What's up, members of the Barrio and new viewers? I'm John, and if you're curious about visiting the Azores Islands, you've come to the right place. And if you can't tell by this tan, we spent nearly 1 month hopping between 6 of the 9 volcanic islands in the Atlantic, and I'm here to tell you they're Europe's best kept secret. I'm gonna give you all 10 amazing things to do when you visit the Azores, and all of these activities were covered on our 13 episode playlist linked down below in the description, so give it a look after you're done watching this entire video. Here we go, 10 amazing things to do when you visit the Azores Islands. Number 10, drink a gin and tonic at Peter Cafe Sport. This is a famous sailor bar in the legendary sailor town of Horta on Fayal Island, and it's a must visit. Not only does it have tons of history and memorabilia from sailors who have passed through over the last, century or so, but they make the best gin and tonic I've ever had. Seriously, the Gin do Mar is made with a special Azorean gin that has a passion fruit flavor and is the perfect antidote to a day of sightseeing around Horta. Better yet, hit up Praia do Porto Pim first. It was the nicest beach we saw during our month-long trip. Number 9, hike around Flores Island. Flores, the westernmost point of Europe, and also, in my opinion, the most beautiful of the Azorean Islands. It has some amazing hiking trails. Our favorite was a short walk to reach some of the most gorgeous waterfalls we've ever seen. But anywhere you look, you're gonna see some magic. There really was no island I enjoyed just wandering around more. An added bonus tip, car rentals are very expensive in Flores. In some ways, it is easier just to hire a taxi for the day to take you to one drop-off spot for a hike, and then that taxi driver can pick you up on the other end, saving you the hassle of having to go back and forth to your car. Number 8, go wine tasting on Pico Island. In general, buying wine on the Azores is a smart move and also really cheap compared to the United States. But Pico Island has the best conditions for growing wine due to the volcanic soil, and if you're into white wine, you'll have many options of places to not only buy this delicious alcohol, but also sample it. Buy some before you leave if you're a fan, since it can cost double the price abroad. Number 7, visit Fajás on São Jorge Island. São Jorge is a rugged, beautiful terrain with some amazing natural beauty, but it's most well known for its amount of fajás, or old volcanic landslides that settled on the bottom of cliffs. Here you can find some small villages like Fajás dos Cubres that have some of the most amazing scenery you'll ever see. It's worth it just to hike around and stop in for lunch at any of these spots and forget about the grind of life. Quick tip, it is very steep and hilly in many of the Azorean Islands, especially São Jorge. Now, you do save a lot of money renting a car that's a manual transmission, but be warned, if you're not good at driving a stick shift, practice before you go, especially on hills. There were a couple of moments where our car stalled in the middle of a steep incline, and it was a little bit scary. I think I lost a couple of pounds sweating. Number 6, eat cocido and visit hot springs in Furnas. Located on the big island of São Miguel, while this can feel a bit touristy compared to some of the other things on the list, I admit the novelty of eating stew that was cooked underground by volcanic steam for 6 hours is something you've got to tell your friends back home you did. They have about 5 different types of meat, and it's quite a tasty treat. That rhymed. After you gain 5 pounds, head to one of the multiple hot springs in the town and soak in one of their thermal volcanic baths. Trust me, it's very relaxing. Number 5, walk inside of a volcano. That's right, Algar do Corvo, located on Terceira Island, is one of the few volcanoes in the world you can actually go inside of. It's extinct, so don't expect any lava, but you can expect amazing views of a volcanic chimney and some incredible views from inside that you won't believe. They even have a little pool of rainwater at the bottom. Just remember, it's going to be a lot of stairs. A shout out to our amazing guide Guy. If you visit Terceira Island, you've got to book a tour with him, and make sure to check out those videos linked down below. Number 4, visit Sete Cidades on São Miguel Island. I'll warn you that this is quickly turning into the biggest tourist spot in the entire Azores Islands chain, but for good reason. These multiple lakes are flanked by an incredible landscape, and if you get a clearer day, like the day we went, it can provide for some unforgettable scenery. You can enjoy the area even more by tacking on some mountain biking and kayaking to the experience, and make sure you visit the abandoned hotel Monte Palace. It's kind of creepy to walk into abandoned rooms, but the view from the rooftop is incredible and it'll provide some great photo opportunities. I had a viewer ask me about doing a separate video about the costs of visiting the Azores, and unfortunately I won't have the time to make a complete list, but I'm gonna throw some numbers out there for you. First, some really cheap stuff. Beer, €1. Coffee, €1 or less depending on where you go. Bottles of wine can go €3 to €5, again depending. You could even buy a bottle at a restaurant for less than €10. So alcohol, coffee, extremely cheap. Eating out at restaurants, dinner on average, €8 to €12. Lunch even cheaper, €4 to €5 for sandwiches at cafes. As far as hotels are concerned, on the bigger islands like São Miguel, we could book a hotel or an Airbnb for €50 a night or less. On the smaller places like Flores, for example, we spend €80 a night on an Airbnb, which was pretty basic, and the issue there is there's just not a lot of accommodations right now. Now, as far as car rentals were concerned, on the bigger places like Terceira and São Miguel, I thought car rentals for a manual transmission were fairly affordable, €20 to €40 a day at most spots. Where it got dicey was the smaller places, Pico Island, Flores, for example. We didn't even rent a car because it was just too expensive, and we found it more cost effective to book tours instead or get local taxi drivers, so kind of insist that you look into that when you visit the smaller places. Let's get back to that list. Number 3, Wander Angra do Heroísmo on Terceira Island. We got very lucky to visit this enchanting city during the festival of San Joaninas, but this place seriously felt like Disney World in that magical sort of way. It's gotta be one of Europe's most beautiful cities that few have ever heard of. Gorgeous cobblestone streets, a UNESCO World Heritage Site with a location right on the water. This was by far my favorite city on the Azores and a great base for any trip to Terceira Island. Number 2, go canyoning on Flores Island. Canyoning is a really fun activity which consists of jumping into rivers, scrambling on rocks, and in our case in Flores, rappelling next to waterfalls. You can go canyoning on some of the islands of the Azores, but Flores has the best setting in my opinion because of its sheer beauty. This was one of my favorite activities we did in almost a month there because you get up close and personal with nature, and you get to wear really cool skin-tight outfits. Okay, well, you might not like that part. Number 1. Climb Pico Mountain on Pico Island. You can add climbing a mountain to your checklist when you visit the Azores. Mount Pico is the highest peak in all of Portugal at 2,351 meters above sea level. I recommend you go with a guide when you do this, as it took us over 8 hours up and down. A guide will help pace you and show you the best path to the top, plus provide you with essential equipment like hiking sticks. The view from the top is like nothing I've ever seen, and it's a real sense of accomplishment to touch that summit. I recommend Nuno and Monica from Atípico if you do this trip. Trust me, they're amazing guides. Members of the Barrio, I am so sad to say this is the end of our Azores series, but I hope by watching this guide that you've been inspired to visit these amazing volcanic islands in the Atlantic, located just 4.5 hours from New York City. My American viewers out there, I am looking straight at you guys. You have no excuse not to visit this place. Quick reminder, all of these experiences were covered on my Guide to the Azores playlist, linked down below. 13 episodes of things to do when you actually visit the beautiful Azores Islands. A special thanks to all the hotels, tour companies, and Azores Airlines for making this trip so much easier to compile. Subscribe to this channel for travel adventures from around the world. We're just getting started. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Leave me a comment if you enjoyed this video and tell me which of these 10 things you would most like to do. Until next time.